What's going on, everybody? You know what it is, and by now you should know who it is. It's your girl Rain. Today is Say It Ain't So Saturday. Did y'all miss me yesterday? No, maybe a little bit, not really. Oh, well, I kind of missed y'all, but I had to take a moment to kind of regroup and revive and sleep. I was tired because I'm not a morning person, and for the regular 9 to 5, your girl been having to wake up at 7 in the morning when she probably go to sleep at 3:30, 3:45, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. So my body was like, "That's not how any of this work." But I want to take a quick moment and say that if some of my rainbows who are used to me speaking in a certain way were in any way, shape, form, or fashion offended by Thursday's topic because y'all didn't feel like it was my normal way of being, I apologize. I think that sometimes, oftentimes, our followers, our audience put us on the pedestal that they feel like we deserve to be on, but we are just regular people. I know I'm speaking for your girl Rain. I am just a regular person. I just go through regular life like everyone else. I am not a saint. I am not perfect. I am a sinner saved by God's grace. Uh, I still have regular human feelings and emotions and situations. So, yeah, if me talking about why speaking about sex and making love and relationships, situationships, and home and love of friendships is such a scandalous topic, offended you by the way I was speaking and by the way that I am raw and uncut and unapologetically truthful about the things that I have lived through and survived and gone through, then my show might not be the show for you because I'm not going to ever not speak my truth. Hence, my name is Rain the Truth. I speak the truth. I say things that mostly everybody at some point wants to say, but might not have the strength or the holy boldness to say it. I have just always been that way. I say exactly what I feel, how I feel it. For the most part, I try to make sure that I might say things at the right time, but sometimes that time at that moment is the right time. Um, but I like to talk about different situations on my show. I like to explore and have open dialogue and conversation and communication between females and males, um, straight, rainbow coalition, whatever, about things that are plaguing my melanated communities. And not just the African American community, but any community that has melanin in it have these issues in it in different levels, shapes, forms, or fashions. So again, I say if you are one of my rainbows and you felt like the conversation wasn't exactly the right type of conversation that you felt like your girl Rain should have been having, then I apologize. But I'm telling you right now, this is Say It Ain't So Saturday, and I want you to know that I'm saying Say It Ain't So that you started watching me and tuning into my things because of the way I keep it trill and raw and uncut. So if me saying things about my past might be too much for your holy ears, or me saying something that I've lived through and I'm giving God the glory for testifying to how he brought me through that is too much for you, then by all means, ma'am and sir, sister, brother, cousin, exit stage left. It's okay because I'm not for everyone. I'm not going to fit into everyone's scheme of things. Now, I do not have an issue with you maybe trying to find out why I felt like I needed to do or say something that I said. That's fine. It is very cool for us to have a conversation about why your girl Rain felt like maybe that was the topic that fell in her lap. I'm cool with that because then that means that it was something about what I spoke or what I said or what I titled the show that particular episode that resonated with something inside of you. Whether it made you feel good, whether it made you say, "Now that girl tripping, she do the most, or she do too much, or she crazy, or that dang on Rain is something else." I just don't. Then that still means that it was something about what I said, what I did, how I acted, how I made you feel at that moment that led to further conversation. And that's the whole point. So, moving along to tonight's topic. Honestly, I just want to talk about something that my oldest sister and I were speaking about today. I want to talk about two things that kind of go intertwine with each other because either one thing could cause um, ripple effects that led to the other thing or vice versa, right? So, what are those things you're asking? Okay, I'll tell you. So, I want to talk about body shaming, and I also want to talk about sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual harassment, molestation, and the trauma that it can cause or that it does cause, and the residue that comes even after you have gotten treatment, right? So, I don't know how, um, I can't remember exactly how me and my sister got on this conversation earlier today, but I do know that I thought that she had known about the instances um, where sexual abuse, sexual assault, and those type of things had played a part in my life because she's my older sister. I I did not recognize that she had no idea that it went back as far as it did. I want to say from what I've gathered from her reaction and the questions that she asked me today, and I'm cool with that. I didn't actually realize how me talking about it could play a part in me doing what I love to do, which is like she said, basically her words were, okay, so you've gone through this, you survived this, you've come out on the other side of it, and you love to help people. You love to talk to people. So why not use this particular situation as another way for you to help people? Her not knowing that that is part of my coaching, like that is part of my thing that I'm working on behind the scenes, right? Um, but the way she brought it to me today was a different type of thing, and that's a whole nother conversation. So I know that I've learned and have been taught, as being the church girl that I am, that we overcome by our testimony. Okay, so I don't know for sure if I have ever truly, fully, completely told my complete testimony when it comes to the sexual things that happened to me in my life. I know I've said bits and pieces of it here and there. So I'm going to take this time, this Say It Ain't So Saturday, to tell you my story. Now I'm going to try to not get emotional because y'all already know I'm not here for any of that. I really do not care to get emotional, but if I do, please bear with me, charges in my head and not my heart. Now, I'm also going to say, rain service announcement. This is not going to be for your children unless you want your children to hear or listen to someone that you know speaking about these type of situations. But it's not going to be all roses and sunshine. This is not going to be one of those episodes where it's going to be fun and games. I mean, who knows, a laugh or something might come out of it, but it's going to be um, some serious type of things. Okay. So I don't know if you all have seen the picture that I put up when I think I was about 2 years old. I think it was my second birthday party. It is my mother, one of my mother's favorite pictures of me. So she tells me. Um, and then I know recently I posted a picture of myself and my brother. I think it was Christmas or it was one of my birthdays or something like that. But my big brother was at that time my favorite playmate, other than my animals and my father, right? So that little girl, now that I'm thinking about what I'm about to say, lets me realize and recognize why it feels so good to be able to have my smile back. That little girl in those pictures was full of life, full of happiness, full of just, I think I just would wake up and as long as I could see my father and my mother and my brother, I was happy. It was just so simple to be happy, right? Okay, so here's the story of a lovely lady like the Brady Bunch, but let me be serious. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna start this off. So I don't even, I guess I should do the math in my head, but I don't even know let me see, what year it was. I don't even remember. Let's see. I was born in 1978. So this time I had to be, ooh, had to be about 1985 or so. Yeah. So I have she's a sister to me now, but she was my best friend. I want to say from, shoot, we was going to kindergarten together. I want to say probably from first or second grade all the way until now, But at that time, we were best friends. Our family and her family lived next door to each other. We lived in a neighborhood in Baytown called Decker Terrace at the time, not far from Baker, and it was kind of behind the Village Lane Apartments in this subdivision that it was called Decker Terrace. Um, my brother and her brother, in my mind, were best friends. So she and I were best friends. Our brothers were best friends. My mother and her mother were best friends, or really good friends, and still to this day are probably really good friends. And actually, I still call her mother Mama. Um, and her father, may rest in peace, and my father were really cool as far as I can remember it. Like I said, I was 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, in leading up to the moment. So we would always be at each other's houses, but most of the time I would be at her house, playing dress up and being in awe of just everything that I felt like everything that her mother did was just, it was just something different from my household. So anyway, I'm just trying to lay down the foundation for y'all. So My brother and her brother would be playing video games, playing football, doing the boy things, and we would be doing girl things. And yes, back then I used to actually do girl things. And but I was always the tomboy doing girl things. So who you see is who I've always been, right? For the most part. Now, my best friend Nikki, she used to. Her mama was. They were from Mississippi, and her mom used to buy her or dress her, especially for Sundays. She would have the bobby socks with the lace and the pretty little floofy like dresses, and they just were like it was. They were so different and so unique to me. But anyway, okay, so like I said, I was always at their house, like on the weekend. We would get together, do stuff. If I wasn't, with my cousins on my mom's side or gone to the country with my father, I would be next door with her. So I remember one weekend, I was 7 years old. We had our regular, weekend thing. Um, her father was one of the coaches at Lee High School at the time, and so like he just was they just came from a family that the father was well known, and I want to say Mama Cynthia was pretty well known as well, and we all went to the same church, Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, Central Heights, 501 Atlantic. Just that's just what we did. Okay, so anyway, I was 7 at her house doing our regular routine, and I'm just happy go lucky, little girl, chunky, look kind of thick little girl. And I remember that him and my brother would always play jokes on us. They were just my brother still to this day, if he can get a good prank off on you, it just what it was. But my brother was a little more serious than her brother. So um I remember, like I said, I was about 7. They would wait till we would almost fall asleep or be asleep, and they would pull pranks on us. So as I can remember it, we fall asleep, and my sis, she would sleep hard. When she sleep, and we done stop laughing and kiki king, and then Mama Cynthia told us, okay, y'all need to go to bed. Like we just she would sleep hard. I never really was that girl that slept hard. Never did, except for my mama say when I was a baby, I would fall asleep anywhere and I'll be asleep. But as I can remember it, I never really was just a sound hard sleeper unless I wasn't feeling good. Now I guess I'm like that. But anyway, I remember that they waited. Well, he waited until we were sleeping. I remember for something just kind of had me kind of half woke, half sleep, and I remember seeing because like where I'm at right now, this is the room we're in, and like to the right of me or the left of you, there's her door, and then you can see his door like on a side hall, like her room. Then it go out of her room, and to the right it's his room, and he always left that room open unless they were loud playing the game or something. So I remember where I was sleep, the way I would sleep, I always kind of slept kind of propped up, but I could see him on his hands and knees, like looking back at himself, whatever, like looking back in his room, I guess probably to see if my brother waking up. That's just as I'm telling it to you, that's how I see. He was like looking back, like make sure this nigga ain't waking up. This Negro ain't waking up. And I remember him crawling out of his room. And I'm like, he could have tried to prank us or wet us or something. That's just what my mom was thinking. So I remember kind of like watching, but acting like I'm asleep. And he bumps, and I guess he didn't realize, but he bumped the door. And I remember her kind of, moving a little bit, but like I said, she would sleep hard. So like I said, I remember him waiting a little bit to see she gonna wake up, but I'm kind of peeping, and he goes around and he tapped my foot. I have a habit of leaving my foot hanging out or whatever, but he tapped my foot. So I'm acting like you ain't finna wet me, you ain't gonna prank me. I'm acting like I'm asleep. So watching him, he tapped my foot. So he started saying my name. And I'm like, this don't feel like no prank, but I'm still thinking they gonna prank us some kind of way, right? So, I remember all of a sudden I didn't answer. I was acting like I was asleep. I remember he pulled me out the bed, and her room had this thick, juicy carpet. And at the time I was already kind of the, thickums a little bit. I wasn't thick like, I ain't no being, but I was the thickums out of my squad or whatever. So I boom hit the carpet. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you bothering me? Proper little black girl, whatever. So fast forward, I remember some kind of way he got me to go into the dens where we would watch, TV at. It was like the rooms on one side, the bathroom, and I think it was like I want to say it was like their mom and dad room. And then I'm just kind of trying to remember it, y'all. And then it had like this den, and then it had like the kitchen, and like you can go into the garage, and then it had like the big living room. I think it was kind of like that. I don't know. So he was able to. I don't remember how he got me, but he was able to get me to come out the room. He probably told me he was gonna give me a cookie or a pie or something, because at that time cake has always been my thing, no matter what age I was. So he probably told me he was gonna give me a cookie or something. I don't know. But I remember the TV was on, was no lights. I remember there was like a fluffy like rug or carpet, and I remember him asking me stuff and talking, and I just remember him saying something like, "If you ever say anything, they're not gonna believe you." And I think that at that time, when you're kind of in that curiosity type age, or you're trying to fit in with your group of so-called friends back then, like, that's when Pumphrey was still open. So I think that, I guess in his mind, he knew that I had got into some trouble, because I would tell my dad tales all the time, because I would want my father to be around all the time. So I would set his clock back and blame it on my brother, and my brother would get in trouble, those type of things. So I'm pretty sure he knew that him saying what he was going to say was going to make me not want to say anything, right? So, and I really just, at that time, I was like, okay, dude, whatever you say, I want to go back to sleep, because when I'm sleepy, I'm just sleepy. Period. It still is that way today. If I'm sleepy, you can get mad all you want. You can call me lazy. You can say the cat jumped over the moon, but I'm gonna find some way to go to sleep. Okay. I slept at the trail ride many a times. Everybody having fun. I'm sleeping, taking it out. So anyway, so I remember the situation took place, right? And I remember thinking, kind of like on the movie Precious, where she just kind of, would go outside of herself. I just remember thinking,